Morning team. What I want to go through today is a couple of insights and about information around the Business Basics grant. This is a new grant that's been launched by the Queensland Government. It's $5,000, which is available to small business owners. I'm going to be running through the criteria for it, how you can spend it, and a recommendation on what I think is best, and a couple of pieces that you should look out for. Applications for this open on the 31st of May. You'll probably hear me repeat this because it's important. They open on the 31st of May and I expect they will close on the 31st of May. This is, as grants go, as good as they get in terms of the application process and what's involved. It's not overly labor intensive. The reporting and return structure is not labor intensive either. Obviously the government needs to understand they've deployed this money. Has it worked? There is an update process to happen, but in the terms of what people sometimes expect a grant to be, this is as good as it gets for business owners, and $5,000 as a cash injection can make a substantial impact to your business. So yeah, if you were to think about how long would it take you to save $5,000 and then deploy that money, how much money do you have to come in at a revenue level to then have $5,000 left to deploy? This is an opportunity for you to get $5,000 for a couple of hours work through an application process and a couple of quotes. So yeah, nuts and bolts of what it's for. First and foremost, $5,000 and what you need to be eligible. It's the main criteria are that you are under $300,000 revenue for the financial year. Now that can be based off your BASs or whatnot, but you need to be able to showing that you are forecast to make less than $300,000 in the year. You have less than 20 employees, which I think is probably a given if you're making less than $300,000. Not that absolutely nothing wrong with that, but yeah, the two don't really go hand in hand. You have to be registered for GST and of course have a Queensland headquarters here. So, and that's anywhere within Queensland. It's not SEQ or regional Queensland. So they're the main criteria. I'm going to be walking you through where to find the information, how to look at it, what's available. The next piece is what can you deploy it for. Now there's a couple of areas to this, but basically there's opportunities for you as a small business who needs to solidify your revenue and get some ongoing revenue coming. There's opportunities for that. There's opportunities for a business that's slightly more established who wants to solidify themselves through some SEO slash web development, improving your brand presence, those type of activities. And there's some opportunities for businesses who are on the top end of the scale where you are nudging that $250,000, $300,000 and you're looking at, well, how can I break that ceiling? Where can you go to next? So there's opportunities within that. So effectively it just comes down to what is the best play for your business, and I really encourage you to think about that, because if you're in the startup process, I provide what I would consider to be a coaching alternative. If you're in a startup business and you really need revenue, spending your money with somebody, me or anybody else, to get coaching is not what you need. What you need is revenue. So you should be deploying this money against things that are going to generate revenue for you. So there's a couple of areas that you can do that through the strategic marketing side of things, and support to make that happen. That's where I would be deploying that money if revenue is your main priority. If you're in a position where you're a little bit further advanced, then you can look at some planning, coaching, solidification activities, But if you're brand new, fresh out of the blocks, you have a website, but it's not ideal. Your website is unlikely to be the reason that you don't have the revenue that you're chasing. So don't spend or blow this money updating your website when what you really need is better promotional activities. So, and through the strategic marketing advice, I believe that you can access some of that through this grant. So take a bit of a check. If you're eligible, think about where you're up to. If you want to have a conversation about it, you can book a coffee or frothy with me. I'll get the words out at some point, but book a call. I'll say good day, see what's going on, and if I can point you in the right direction, go for gold. There are a couple of partners that I'm working with in this. Something for you to note is that you do have to spend all $5,000. So it's not a grant where you can apply and spend $1,000 or $1,500. You have to have a project, and that project value has to be $5,000 or more ex GST. So make sure that you get your project together, and from a funding perspective, you can engage up to 2 suppliers with that project. So you've got your project, it's maybe a planning and marketing side of things. So you've got your 2 suppliers, you've got a scope of works for each one, and they've got they've got their quotes back to you. It's your job now as the applicant to get that application in and say, this is my project, this is how much it's going to cost, and these are the suppliers that are going to help me execute this project. So let's jump on in and have a look and see what we can find. Alright, so let's take a look at what we're up to here. We've got the Business Basics grant, and we're looking at what you're going to expect when you go on to take a look. First place to start, if you don't know already where it is, good old Google. Business Basics. I've already searched for it before, so it's going to come up there, no dramas. If you end up on this one, this is a small business grant schedule. This Business Growth Fund and Small Business Adaptation, they're both open. They're 4 different categories, and this one here is a big one that's coming open soon. Expect more information on that late July. But what you're looking for at the moment is Business Basics grant. That'll take you through to this page here. So this is the Business Basics grant program. Obviously small business, details I went through before. The first thing you want to look at is your criteria to make sure that you're eligible, which is eligibility criteria. So yeah, obviously most of the ones there we went through before. Fewer than 20 staff, less than 300,000, ABN, registered for GST and Queensland headquarters. If you get onto this page, you head down, here you go. You can check out your eligibility here. That'll give you a rundown on what you can expect there. Couple of yes, no's to answer, and it'll tell you whether you are eligible. Now, presuming that you're eligible, the next place to look at is, well, what would you be spending this money on? Yeah, so we'll come back here to eligible activities in just a moment. Obviously, there's a bunch more information, but it's all around how do you actually apply and that. If you come down here to the frequently asked questions, click through on this, download this here. That'll open up this frequently asked questions page here for you. The difference here, that this is just obviously a lot of fine print, a lot of obviously common questions, frequently asked questions. Couple of interesting ones that I note out of this frequently asked questions, and I'm not 100% on where they are exactly, but you'll find them. The interesting ones, you can only have one business. So if you have multiple businesses, you can't apply under multiple businesses. If you're the director or you're the beneficiary, whether it's directly or through a trust situation, whatever that might be, only one business that you're a beneficiary for can apply. The other big one that I took out of this is you obviously have to spend the entire 5,000. It's not a portion of the 5,000, it's entirety of the 5,000, and you can only have up to 2 suppliers. So if you have like a $20,000 project or something, that's probably maybe a bit excessive in it. What I would do is just break out $7,000-8,000 worth of that, $5,000 to $7,000 worth of that. These are all ex GST figures. So making sure that you are aware and ready, so that you've got, here's $7,000 as a standalone. It might be bigger, but from the point of the application, you're just applying for $7,000 to do this piece of work. So coming back now to what are the pieces of work that you would do. Up here we have this beautiful section here called eligible activities. Now there's 5 sections here: training, coaching, websites, professional business advice, strategic marketing, business continuity. I see this as really 2 very distinct sections. You've got, do you need to generate more revenue, in which case you should be spending this on promotional activities that are going to generate ROI for you, hopefully ongoing ROI. If you've got introductory products and more sustainable products, you want to be putting this behind activities that are going to showcase you in front of the potential clients who could use your services as on an ongoing basis. So making sure that you're throwing things in the ROI marketing activity side of things. And I would factor that in here under the strategic marketing services. So build your plan in around that. If you're in a bit better position where you're looking to solidify a few things, I'll be looking at web development. You can maybe upgrade your website, look at a few different things that are going to give you some more credibility, combination of web build, strategic marketing services. Potentially you want to go into that. If you are at a point of capacity, that's where I think the planning, strategy, coaching side of things come in for you. If you are not at a point of capacity, what you need is revenue, right? So spend this money to get more revenue. If you're in a fortunate position where things are going along pretty well, but it's like you're maybe at a bit of a ceiling, you've been operating in that 200 to 300 grand revenue mark for a couple of years now, how do you break that ceiling? Well, that's the piece where some coaching, training, planning, development can really come into the front for you. So the project that I'm working on with this, it's a 4-month rollout, which is in line with what's here. It's some strategic planning advice around and identifying opportunities that come along with that. It's some training and development on site, and it's 3 monthly consults, what I call an ops consult, in order to make sure that that plan is being executed, hopefully seeing you in a 4-month time breaking through some of that ceiling. So that's where you're going to find it. That's roughly where I would recommend you spend your money, and depending on the business section that you're at. Obviously there's more, so we've already gone through the eligibility criteria. A couple of key notes on your application. I feel like a broken record here, but get yourself ready, get your quotes from your suppliers, because you need to have them prior to May 31st. 31st of May it will open, and I would be surprised if it doesn't close on the same day. This will be very popular and oversubscribed, so get your quotes from your suppliers. Allocate a couple of hours for it on a Monday morning. Don't think that this is something you're going to come back and get to on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Make sure that you're ready for that. There is a statutory declaration that you need to get sorted, and then yeah, a few other bits and pieces, but this is where you're going to get all the information that you need around it. It's publicly available, it's not secretive. Do your research, pick in where it's going to add the most value to you, and I wish you a great success with it, whether you're spending it for getting some revenue in the door, or breaking that ceiling, or solidifying your brand. It's a great opportunity to have $5,000 injected into your business and leverage up from that. So thanks very much, guys, and best luck with it.